написал в Твиттере Илон Маск. И это его заявление очень хорошо коррелирует с заявлениями ученых в научных журналах. Ведь если человечество будет летать на Луну или Марс, где нет ни лесов, ни океанов, и научится существовать в этих условиях, то значит и на Земле ему никакие апокалипсисы не страшны. И именно поэтому космическое путешествие может обеспечить будущее нашей цивилизации. Будущее без лесов и океанов, но все-таки хоть какое-то будущее, осознанное и без ненужных излишеств. Смартфон и безлимитное подключение – вот что станет наивысшей точкой развития человечества. А вовсе не Пушкин с Шекспиром, и не Микеланджело с Леонардо, и даже не Малевич с Энди Уорхолом. А главное, никакая высокоразвитая инопланетная цивилизация не станет вступать с нами в контакт. Ну, чтобы не лишиться своих лесов и океанов. Что, с одной стороны, избавит нас от соблазнов, а с другой стороны, обеспечит необходимую социальную дистанцию. А то мало ли что.
Максима Кононенко.
О погоде на 4 августа. В Екатеринбурге 25-27 без осадков, в Челябинске 32-34 со знаком плюс, Тюмени до 35, в Ханты-Мансийске дождь, гроза до плюс 29, в Сургуте и Омске 30 градусов без осадков, в Иркутске дождь с грозой 21-23, в Красноярске 22-24, также осадки, в Петрозаводске 19-21, дождь, гроза, в Вологде на плюс 25, в Сыктывкаре до плюс 21, в Великом Новгороде 4 августа 21-23, в Перми 20-22 с дождем, в Уфе плюс 28-30, также дождь. В Санкт-Петербурге завтра небольшой дождь, температура воздуха днем плюс 20-22, в Москве без осадков плюс 24, плюс 26.
Пазлы Евросоюза, ребусы от мировых лидеров, задачи на международной арене. Простые и со звездочкой. Правильные ответы слушайте по будням после 11 часов. Железная логика. Железная логика. С Сергеем Михеевым. Следствие. Итог. На радио. ТФМ. Каким бы хорошим или плохим ни был день, он закончится. Какой бы простой или сложной ни была ситуация, она станет эйфорией по существу. Обсуждаем, что было, рассуждаем, что будет. Уже не день, но ставить точку рано, потому что еще не вечер. С Владимиром Авериным и Гией Саралидзе. По будням после 20 часов на радио Вести ФМ. Распишитесь. План, телеграм. Новости, комментарии, авторские материалы. Прямиком в ваш смартфон. Вести ФМ теперь и телеграм-канал. Подписывайтесь. Вести ФМ плюс. Вести ФМ плюс. Эфир и не только. Вся редакция уже там. Ждем только вас.
В Москве 5 часов.
Новости.
В студии Александр Зайцев. Здравствуйте. Вакцина от коронавирусной инфекции пока будет недоступна для детей. По закону препарат должен сначала пройти полный цикл испытаний на взрослых, сообщила РИА Новости директор Национального исследовательского центра имени Гвалея Александр. На детях можно испытать вакцину и предлагать новый препарат только когда он прошел полный цикл испытаний на взрослых. Поэтому, когда закончится третья фаза испытаний, после этого нам разрешат исследование 18-, сказал он. В свою очередь, директор Института трансляционной медицины и биотехнологий Сеченского университета
Вадим Тарасов рассказал РИА Новости, что перед применением вакцины у детей обычно проводятся доклинические испытания на неполовозрелых животных. После этого принимается решение о применении препарата на детях. Ранее министр здравоохранения России Михаил Мурашко заявил, что клинические испытания вакцины от коронавирусной инфекции, разработанные Центром Гамалеи, уже завершились. Сейчас готовится пакет документов для ее регистрации. Новый национальный стандарт для номера для автомобилей, мотоциклов и других транспортных средств вступает в силу сегодня в России, сообщил РИА Новости пресс-служба Росстандарта. Среди основных инноваций введен тип регистрационных знаков для транспортных средств с нестандартным местом крепления, уменьшенные габаритные размеры регистрационного знака для мотоциклов, регистрационного знака дипломатических и мототранспортных средств, не предназначенных для передвижения по автодорогам общего пользования. Введены типы регистрационных знаков для мопедов, спортивных и классических ретро-транспортных средств. Для изготовления знаков владелец автомобиля или мотоцикла может по собственной инициативе
Jay said, "What are we doing here? I thought we were going to look at the hot sheets." Kay ignored him, something he seemed to do a lot. They were at one of the larger Midtown newsstands. Not only had Kay gotten them there without once getting gridlocked, he'd found a parking place right in front of the stand, blab, empty, big as you please. The man must have his own personal good to get this kind of luck. You'd be more likely to win the lottery than find an empty legal spot against the curb in this part of New York City at this time of the day. Finally, Kay said, "Follow me," and then, grasshopper. He walked to the paper section and picked up a copy of one of those lurid tabloids. "Baby born pregnant," top doctors baffled. Kay began to flip through it. "What are you doing?" Kay put the tabloid back on the rack, removed another one. Jay saw the headline on this one. "Mean eats his own house. And that's just the appetizer. Man, I sure hate to be sued by the Pope. That can't do you any good when you get to the pearly gates now, can it?" Kay kept flipping through the paper. "Hello." "Ask to Kay." Kay put that one back, reached for another one. "Kay, you are not telling me these are the hot sheets?" "Best damn investigate reporting there is," Kay said. "You are pulling my chain again, aren't you?" "You think so? You know what we do for a living. When was the last time you read about the events in the New York Times?" He shook his head. "Those guys don't have a clue. Now these guys," he waved at a tabloid, "these guys are at least on the right track." "You are actually looking for tips in a supermarket tabloids. I cannot believe it." "Not look it, slick. Found." Kay held the paper up for Jay to see the story on the inside. "Farm wife says Eden stole my husband's kid. Spaceship crashes family truck, husband vanishes." Jay looked up at the ceiling, said, "Help me, Spock." "Come on," Kay said. "We are going to take a little ride in the country." Edgar sat in the cockpit of the Zap-M vehicle and sucked up dark fizzy liquid through a thin plastic tube. A straw. The tube was another of those words whose definition made no sense. The liquid was called Jolt Cola, and while undeniably weak on the sugar content, it was better than nothing. He looked at himself in the small reflector device that allowed him to see to the rear of the vehicle, noticed a small flap of skin dangling from his neck. The skin tag was turning grayish and getting a bit crusty. He reached up and peeled it off. This costume wasn't going to last much longer without another speed coat inside and out, a prospect he didn't relish. Sooner he could get down and get out of this flesh boy monkey suit, the better. But there was no denying it. If he didn't get it down fairly soon, he would have to fix the costume or it wouldn't hold together. But maybe it wouldn't have to, for even as he thought this, he saw the door open. What was it named again? Ah, the jewelry store, he recalled, and the one known as Rosenberg emerged. Ah, Rosenberg was an older model, as he carried two items. One appeared to be an intricately carved box. The other was a small furry animal Edgar identified as a cat. It was sometimes the custom on this world for the higher mammals to keep lower orders, mammalian, reptilian, avian, or piscian, as pets. Sometimes these pets served a useful function to rid the owner's domicile of yet smaller destructive mammalian of insectoid pests, but often these pets had no duties save to act as some kind of companion. There were two main species that fulfilled this role, cats and dogs, though some of the Terran ruling class also kept more exotic creatures. This symbolic relationship seemed rather pointless to Edgar, but he supposed that if times got lean, the Terrans probably utilized their pets as food, which did make a kind of sense, saved them having to go out and hunt prey. As far as he was able to determine, humans were lousy hunters. Rosenberg set the cat upon the box, then attended to the locking mechanism on the door of the jewelry store. There appeared to be 5 such devices. When finished with his ministrations upon the door, he picked up the cat and box and walked away. Edgar started the vehicle and allowed it to idle along slowly, following the worker. He had to see where Rosenberg was going. A yellow vehicle behind Edgar blasted its horn, but Edgar ignored it and the stream of profanity the pilot driver emitted in regard to Edgar's less than optimum pace. In due course, he would lean out to reply in kind and offer the fine finger salute as was appropriate, but for now he must take care not to lose sight of Rosenberg. Thus far his mission had been relatively easy, and while he expected no less, it would not pay to become complacent. The path to victory was fraught with peril, and a wise traveler kept himself alert to potential dangers. Even though he would hardly conceive of any real problems on this dinky planet, it was better to be cautious than cauterized. The ZAP-M vehicle rolled slowly along. The driver behind him cursed slowly, bespeaked itself mostly in regard to Edgar's ancestors and his unusual relationships with them, among other colorful descriptions. All was in good order. "Why don't you let me drive?" Jay asked Ray. "I don't think you are quite ready for this car yet." "Here, I got a B in driver's ed." "I'm sure you did. I got an A, and I've been doing it longer." "How much further is it?" "Are we almost there yet?" "I need to go pee. I'm hungry. Can we stop at the souvenir shop?" Jay grinned. Kay just shook his head. Almost there was somewhere in upstate New York. The last hour or so had been in country so rural Jay couldn't believe it. Cows, horses, big empty fields, woods, it was pretty amazing. You sort of didn't think about New York having any real country. He remarked upon this to Kay, who finally chuckled. "You need to get out of the city more, but don't worry, you will." The road wound through the trees, getting narrower and ruttier. By the time they actually got to this destination, they might as well have been in the middle of outer Mongolia or somewhere. There was one house, not much bigger than a double-wide trailer, and what appeared to be the smashed, scattered, burned out remains of a pickup upon which a large and heavy weight seemed to have fallen, sinking through the truck a few feet right into the gravel driveway. Whatever had done the damage was not apparent. "Looks like his truck overheated," Jay said. Kay pulled the LTD to a stop. Jay reached for the door handle. "Hold up a second," he said. "Let's give the lady of the house time to wander a little. Makes the job easier if they're a bit off balance." After about a minute, a woman appeared in the doorway of the little house. Calling her plain would be a kindness. She wore lipstick too bright, too red, and too much of it, and had rouged and powdered her face. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" she called out. "No," Kay said. They got out of the car and started up the driveway. As they walked, Kay pulled a card from his wallet. Jay glanced at the card, which looked like a black credit card. As Jay watched, the card in Kay's hand morphed into a leather badge holder with a very official-looking FBI ID card and badge in it. "I want one of those," he told Kay. "Maybe when you are older." Kay waved the badge holder at the woman, then tucked it away. "How do you do, ma'am? I'm Special Agent Mannheim. This is Special Agent Blank. We are with the FBI. We have a few questions, and we'd like to ask you." "You here to make fun of me, too?" "No, ma'am. We are at the FBI. Don't have a sense of humor that we are aware of. May we come in?" The woman led them to the house, into a tiny kitchen. "Care for some lemonade?" "Yes, ma'am. That would be nice," Kay said. The woman got them glasses. To Jay it looked like dishwater with a yellow tinge. He smiled at her when he took the glass. "So tell us about your husband, Mrs. Jacks, Beatrice Jacks. Come on into the living room." They followed her. Kay took a sip of the drink she'd prepared, and from his face it must have tasted pretty bad. Jay resolved to let his drink evaporate. He checked out the room while Beatrice Jacks told her story. He listened with half his attention as he wandered over to the TV set and looked at the picture on top of it. A man smiling, squatting, and about to skin a presumably dead deer on the ground. "That's my husband. That's Edgar, there in that picture." Jay shook his head. Mr. Jack wasn't gonna win no prizes for beauty either. And so the sheriff said, "Well, Miss Jacks, if Edgar was dead," this word came out as and you Englanders they'd how was it he was able to walk back into the house? "That does sound somewhat unusual," Kay offered. "Well, yes, it does," Beatrice said. "I was stumped by that myself, but I know Edgar, and even though it looked just like him, it wasn't him, if you know what I mean." Kay raised his eyebrows. "It was like he was wearing a suit," she said. "Only thing was he was the suit. His skin, I mean. It was like an Edgar suit." "I see. Make a note of that, Agent Black." "I got it," Jay said. "Did this person in the Edgar suit say anything, Miss Jacks?" "He said the truck got blown up by sugar, but then he said what he wanted was some sugar in water." Kay nodded. "Sugar water. I see." He took out his sunglasses, waved them at Kay. "Put your Ray-Bans on there, would you, Slick?" Jay shrugged, pulled the issue glasses out and slipped them on. Kay put his own glasses on and smiled at the woman. So are you going to track this alien down and punish him for what he did to the truck and Edgar? Oh yes, ma'am. You can rest assured of that. He pulled the little tape recorder thing Jay had seen him play with a couple of times, pointed it at the woman. Look here a second, would you, Miss Jacks? The woman looked. There came a flash of light, bright even though the shades, and the woman's face went blank. Kay took his glasses off, waved them at Jay to indicate he should do the same. Jay shrugged and complied. Kay turned back to Mrs. Jacks. Now, Beatrice, listen carefully. There was no alien. That flash of light you saw wasn't an UFO hitting the truck. It was all swamp gas that escaped from a weather balloon trapped in a thermal pocket that refracted the light from Venus. The truck had a leaky gas tank, and that's what caused it to explode. Jay frowned. Whoa, hold up there. What you just do? What is that thing? Standard issue neuralizer, Kay said. Erases memory in a subject, allow us to replace the blank spot with our own material. No shit, cool. But that's the best you can come up with? Swamp gas, Venus? Kay turned away from Jay and back to Mrs. Jacks. Thing is, Beatrice, Edgar ran off with an old girlfriend. And after you go and stay with your mother for a few days, you will not only get over it, you'll decide you are a lot better off without him. Yeah, Jay put in. In fact, you kicked him out, and now that he's gone, you are gonna buy some new clothes, maybe redecorate the place, and find somebody worthy of you. He looked at Kay. Might as well give the poor woman something. Kay smiled at him. I think you are getting the hang of it. He turned back to the woman. On one final thing, Beatrice. We were never here, so naturally you wouldn't know us if you ever saw us again, and you won't remember any of this conversation. And right now, you need to go take a little nap for, or say, a couple of hours, after which you'll feel a lot better. Outside, Kay walked to the remains of the pickup truck and looked at it. How did the sucker get mashed like this? Aden's ship must have landed on it, just like it said in the paper. I'm telling you, those boys get the straight scoop more often than not. Oh, I'm sure, Kay continued. Edgar came out to see what the fuss was about. The alien hacked him and took his body. Well, probably disposed of most of it, just kept the skin. Then that happened a lot? No, most of the legal visitors buy the disguises of world, get them from the MiB headquarters, or at that little shop down in Greenwich Village, the one next to the place that makes those good fried egg sandwiches. Hey, I know that place. So the fact that our visitor killed a local and swiped his skin for his mask, well, that's bad. That's pretty much a felony everywhere. Couple of worlds, it's only misdemeanor, but even so, it's not considered polite. So we are right away dealing with a criminal, and not just somebody who hoped the fence. He pulled another gadget from his pocket and pointed it at the crunched and fried truck. A thin beam flashed out and danced over the wreck and down into the depression. Now what? Spectral analyzer. Picks up stray molecules alive from leaves behind. Kind of like an electronic bloodhound. See this little screen? It's color-coded to tell us what kind of alien we are dealing with. That's cute. What I want is one of them memory things. I know a couple of women I want to show it to. I bet. He waved the device. The little screen flashed, emitted a pulsing red light. We have a winner, Jay said. It's a red boy. No, Kay said. It's not finished yet. Still sniffling. Jay realized he was right, for as he watched, the spectral thing flashed again, yellow this time. Still Kay kept waving it back and forth, and the next time it flashed, it was blue. Kay was talking to the device he held. Stop at purple, he said. Don't go to green, okay? The device shifted to purple. Seemed to hold there. Thank you, Kay said. But the toy pulsed for a couple of seconds, then the light changed to green. Stayed green. Well, shit, Kay said. Do you know what this means? Jay cut his gaze heavenward. Wait. Was this the last question on Jeopardy last night? What kind of alien leaves a green spectral trail? Hell no, I don't know what it means. I just got here. Kay climbed out of the depression and headed for the car. You just gonna leave me hanging? Jay said, following him. What? At the car, Kay pulled what looked like an old-fashioned CB mic from under the dash and carried it. Jay would bet diamonds to Neville Lind it wasn't any old-fashioned CB unit though. Come on, man. Kay waved him quiet. Zed, this is Kay. I'm here, came back from the radio. We are at the Red Letter landing site upstate. And you have good news for me? Wishful thinking. He paused for a second, took a deep breath, said, We got a bug, Zed.
Себе сейчас на отпуск, уеду послезавтра, как раз перечитать еще раз Оруэлла, потому что настолько это становится актуальным. Знаете, как мы раньше перечитывали Достоевского «Беса», и нам казалось, что ну как же Федор Михайлович гений какой, все написал про то, что сегодня происходит. А ведь Оруэлл — это буквально то, о чем мы с вами говорим. Вот прям можно, мне кажется, брать каждый абзац, каждое предложение, и это будет цитата, необходимая к каждому нашему сегодняшнему дню, или последующему.
Но Оруэлл писал замятина. Я рекомендую еще почитать «Замятин мы».
Согласна,
это антиутопия,
да.
написана в 20-х годах.
Мы как-то больше к Оруэллу вспоминаем, да, а надо и к своим обратиться, согласно. Очень правильное